regardless if you're dealing with a customer that you've worked with in the past or with a new lead, someone that has not worked with you in the past, that really don't know what you're about, this approach to selling your products and services in person, over the phone, almost the same concept, is going to work the same way. I do see it more effective when I'm in person than I am over the phone, or if I'm delivering some sort of, digital presentation as to what I'm trying to sell, like an online video, things like that. I do see it more effective in person. But either way, you can do this over the phone, you can do this in person, or you can sort of create the same concept online, which is one of the things that a lot of people are doing now to close your sales in a very high rate. So let me share with you, right? You want to sell this product, or most of the time this service, to a potential customer or your existing customer. Something that I've learned in the past, and I see with some of the customers that I work with, is that the first thing that they tell their customer is how much they're going to charge for the service. That's not the right way to do it. You never want to just tell somebody the price to whatever it is that you're selling, because there is no incentive. There is no value. You have not yet built awareness. You have not yet nurtured that individual for you to get a good informed yes. What do I mean by that? With the old quote, as you heard in the past, make an informed decision. That's basically what it's all about. The first thing that you have to do is that you have to explain to your customer, you have to break down and share what is included, what they're going to get, why and why you, and the list goes on as to why you want them to go with this product or this service that you want to sell, right? And so even if the customer tells you, and I get this sometimes, especially with new customers, right? Leads in this case, just how much it is. How much do you charge? I'm like, listen, before I tell you how much I'm going to charge you, I have to first tell you what I'm going to do, why I'm going to do it, right? What I'm also going to add to that to give you some value for working with me, etc., etc. The last thing that you want to tell your lead or customer is the price. Why is that? Is because when you explain to them everything you're going to do, why you're going to do it, any add-ons or bonuses, whatever you want to call it, that you want to add to that to really create a good, valuable offer, most of the time, they're going to be thinking like, if they say no, it's either because basically they have no money regardless if you explained it or not. Two, they did not want it or don't want it regardless if it's so good or not. But 90 to 80% of the time, you're going to get a yes because, one, I'm assuming you're doing this, I'm doing this. You're presenting something that you're selling because you know they need it. You're not just coming up with random stuff, right? Trying to sell something to somebody, because we know as business people, as individuals, when you make stuff up, people get skeptical. They think you're just trying to sell them something, making up stuff just to try to get some money out of them. Really, they don't even know if they need it or not. No, you don't want to do that. Let me give you a great example, all right? If I have a customer or a lead reaching out to me to build a website, let me just give you an example. I do many things in terms of consultations for business, marketing, IT, website design, e-commerce, the list goes on. And I also teach and educate other customers, if they want to, of course, how to do certain things to get them a little bit more involved in the business and not so much about running the business. But anyways, somebody's reaching out to me and they say, hey, Alan, look, I like to build a website, or I like to improve my website, or I like to add stuff to my website, build a store on the site, whatever the case may be. So I already know that their interest right now is their website, not marketing, not computers, not IT, nothing to do other than their website, right? So obviously the first thing that I'll do is that I'll try to get as much information from the customer or the lead as possible. Why do you want a new website? Why do you need to improve your website? Why are you trying to add a store to your website? What is the reason behind you needing to do this? I need to know the reason. Because think about this, guys. When you know the reason to their problem or need, you already know what to offer that's going to solve that problem, that's going to provide them that solution. Make sense? And then the final thing that you do is now you're going to present them with your offer. You're going to present to them. It's a total difference between I'll charge this much, let me know when you're ready, versus this is what I'm going to do. This is what I think you'll need. This is what you're going to get. This is what's going to happen. I charge this much. Totally different. You get a lot more closure doing it that way than you are just giving them the price. Learn this the hard way over the years. Now, 8, 9 out of 10, I'm closing them. Because I'm going to give them just enough information for them to make not just an informed decision, but for them to decide if this is really something I need, which I know they do, I got to do it now. Not tomorrow, not next week. Right now. Because this offer is very special and limited. Keep that in mind. Now, another thing to keep in mind too is, for example, they want to build a website, improve their website, add stuff to the website. That's mainly what we're talking about. So, obviously, besides you focusing mainly on what they're trying to do, you also want to think about what are the things that they can also do besides adding something to the site, like building a store on the site they already have, or starting a new website, or improving what they have already, maybe getting better conversions, getting more leads out of it. People are not really clicking through whatever that is, their contact page, whatever. Then, what there is that you can also share to them as an add-on, right? Part of that package, part of that sales presentation, that, limited offer that you have for them. That's going to be very useful. It's going to be perfect. It goes well with it, right? Let me give you some examples. Let's say that they want to build a store on the website that they already have, and they have in mind about selling, whatever that is, and they just want to run payments through PayPal, let's say. But now you can introduce the idea that, hey, maybe we can integrate Amazon payments since you have Amazon, right? Perhaps you can also integrate some of those products on the Amazon marketplace as well. Maybe feature some of those and some on your site, etc., etc. So now you have two payment options, two different sources that customers can find your product at, right? So obviously more traffic, more potential sales. Or we can simply just go all the way on your website only utilize PayPal. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But because we're doing payment integration, maybe why not also add Amazon or any other payment method for that matter that you're currently using besides these two, right? So now you're really giving them so much value, so much information, so much options related to the payment option. What about the store layout and the experience that the customer will have finding, checking out, and going through the process of finding the product, adding it to the checkout, and basically paying, right? What are the different experiences that you can share with them? Perhaps when they're looking at a product, now we can share related products, interesting products. You make like this product type thing under that product, so they're not just going for that one, but now they can add more to their cart before they check out. And the list goes on. You get the point. So instead of just going directly to, yeah, I can build you a website or a store or whatever for this much. Yeah, sure, I can do it. Takes me about a week. That's it. I mean, that's the only information you're sharing. You're not going to get too much closure that way. You're not going to get 8, 9 out of 10 yes. Let's go ahead and do that. You're not going to get payments right now the moment you presented that offer. You're not going to, because you're not giving them enough information to choose from. Okay? So keep that in mind. Something else too, and I'm going to close with this, guys, is, obviously there's two ways on how you can have your presentation ready, how you can present your offer, basically, to try to get that sale. One would be in the moment, instant, randomly, unexpected. You got to know your stuff, right? How to answer rejection, how to provide information, how to respond to a question, a confusion, a concern. You need to know your stuff, because a lot of times that happens like that. I mean, I get sales like that. I might go to a customer's house or business, and I'm there for one thing, but the opportunity presented itself for me to share, as mentioned, what else I think they need. And it's like that. I could walk out of there from 500 that I initially went to get to $2,000. I mean, you just never know. So you got to be ready. But two, the one that I really, really like is when you have time, right? Let me give you an example. I already have scheduled to meet John tomorrow, let's say, right? And I know that I'm there to show him or talk about whatever that initial, right, interest was. I'm now getting ready. I'm preparing myself ahead of time, way before I get there. What I'm going to say, why I'm going to say it, what else are they going to need if it's a business, or what is he going to need for his own business, and the list goes on. I go so prepared that I have always typically 2 to 3 options, and they're going to go with one out of the 3. I'm not walking out of there with none of it, put it that way. Option 1 is somewhat what they wanted. I have a nice breakdown as to what is, why, what's included, etc. I'll have option 2, which is a little bit of an upscale, right? A markup, more value, added some more stuff to that, really make it a little bit more of a complete solution, if you will, not just what they wanted. That's a different price. Now, I always try to fall in the middle, not the last one because it gets a little bit expensive, not what they initially wanted, because it is okay. Typically, it's what you call your entry point, right? Your low offer. I always like to get them in the middle bracket, because that's where I'm comfortable at. That's where I'm happy at. That's where they'll be getting a lot more commitment from me. That's where they're invested the most. And so it makes sense. It's worth our time. Make sense? So always prepare, guys. So I wanted to come on and share that with you, because this week alone, I closed 9 out of 10 out of the 20 different offers that I had. And it was because of that same strategy that I follow every single time I speak with the lead, or I'm following up, or speaking once again with another customer, is that I first tell them, share with them, present to them what they're getting, why they're getting it, how special this is, why should they go for it now, etc., etc. Then I drop the price. And I typically give them 1 to 2, most of the time, depending on what it's about, 2 to 3 options for them to choose from. Because the last thing, guys, and we're going to end it here, keep this in mind, okay? If you only offer one thing, one option, they can't choose. It's either a yes or a no. But if you have 2 or 3, think about it. Now they're deciding between, should I go with option 1 because it's affordable, I don't need that much, or should I go with option 2 because, you know what, I'm saving money, right? He's really going to give me what I need right now. I might as well invest in it. I'm already here. Really need to get this done. Or 3, you're ready. You're all the way. You're a big company. You got the funds. You're ready to build a long-term relationship. This makes sense. But it makes sense because I explained it to you. Makes sense? Because if I did not explain it to you, you would not know that you needed this or that. You would not know that there was option 2 and option 3. Keep that in mind, guys. For those of you who are entrepreneurs, small business owners, this is the approach, the strategy behind closing 8, 9 out of 10, 1, 2 out of 3, out of everybody that you talk to. Never drop the price. Never share what you charge. You always tell them what they're going to get, then the last thing you say is how much you'll do it for. And you always give them 2 to 3 options to go with.